They say the grass is greener on the other side. So many times people jump on over. Stop. Just stop. What we're going to talk today about is, that change that everybody's looking for, the greener grass. How do we get it? What do we do? Oftentimes, if you'll stop and, start taking care of your own grass, your own situations, your own issues you have going on, things in your own area, you won't have to go check out anybody else's green grass. Um, that term often derives around people cheating. Okay, so if you saw my short earlier, you would see that I put in there to hashtag cheating. So we'll talk about that being the first component because that's where we hear it most. Well, he cheated because the grass was on the other greener on the other side. She cheated because she thought the grass was greener on the other side. Well, that term arises because people say that they cheat because what they have at home is not as good as what is out and about. And the sad part of that is they actually probably could have all that green grass plus more at home if you put the same interest and emphasis and work and hard work, hard work into what you have in your home, what you have in your relationship, what you have in that marriage, what you have in that, partnership, what you have in that relationship that's been ongoing, you know. Um, what we see is that, people get bored. You're in a relationship, you're there 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. People become complacent, they become settled, and so things become boring. Okay. Guys, that doesn't have to be the case. That does not have to be the case. You can water your grass, you can water your love, you can water your stability, you can water your communication, you can water every aspect of your relationship by putting all of you into it. Not just 10%, not just 15%, not 20, but all of you in it. Okay? If you're letting things like social media, friends, work, money, any of that interrupt you watering your own relationship, you're creating havoc. I've been there, I've done that, I'm divorced. I've never been shy about telling you guys about that. I'm divorced because our relationship became complacent. I became a full-time student. I worked all day, come home and did schoolwork. I did cook dinner. I did make sure laundry done. I was making sure all basic needs were met, but I wasn't overfilling. I wasn't completing that actual watering. So we weren't dating. We weren't laughing. We weren't communicating. We weren't doing anything to keep that relationship, that love alive and just thriving. I wasn't giving it my all. Therefore, he wasn't giving it his all either because here he was, a husband that had no wife. He had somebody there to make sure the house was clean. He had somebody there working towards the future. He had somebody that was paying bills, but he didn't have any of the emotional needs being met. So it was easy for him to step out. It was easy for him to seek that grass. It was easier for him to, seek that greener grass because what we had wasn't working and he didn't use the proper tools. Same as me. I didn't step out. But had I known how he was feeling, had I known and communicated and checked in with him, I would have known how he was feeling, And it's hard. It's hard. People come very secure in a relationship where they, okay, every morning we get up at 6:15 and we brush our teeth, we take showers, we get ready for bed, get ready for work. We get the kids ready. We do this. You're doing this. I'm doing this. I'm going to work. You're going to work. I'm going to work. I'm going to stay home and clean the house. Whatever your situation may be, it becomes a common routine. And when that common routine becomes all that you live, it causes or can cause an emptiness. It doesn't have to, but the only way that it doesn't is if you have two people really working on that. You have two people that are really giving it their all. Now, Maybe one day I give 110 and William gives 20. One day I give 20 and he gives, 80, or just whatever it is. But you have to continue to make that involvement, that desire. You have to make time, and you have to, secure, and you have to put your relationship in a bubble to where you know that all it's going to do is grow, but you're going to grow together and nobody's going to be going to look for no other green grass. It's the craziest phrase I ever heard. But the most relatable is with, intimate relationships, marriages, long-term relationship, partnerships, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And I will tell you, I let my cup runneth over. Like, I try to water my grass all the time. I want this relationship to be so full that we don't ever get to that complacent point. We don't ever get bored. We don't ever wonder what the other's thinking. I'm in a place where communication is very key, and it's because he's gone most of the time. It's just me here, right? So I have to really, really, really work at making sure that I water just as much as I can. I give all of me to him. Okay. And in return, he does the same. He gives all of him to me. Because when we start being complacent, when we stop talking, when we don't make us a priority, what happens is that one person might step out. You get bored. You're not feeling the affection. You're not feeling the desire, the need. You're not feeling wanted or cared for. You're feeling lonely and insecure. And when you step out like that new love, I mean, it's not just crush, it's love. That new love becomes very easy to sink into, and it becomes very easy to make a new pattern, and it feels good to feel wanted and needed, because you don't feel like that over here. You just don't, because this person or us or whoever is just not giving all anymore. A few things that I've done differently in my relationship this time is that William and I can consistently have fun, and we enjoy what we do. We like to go to the casinos. We like to play cards. We can play cards all night long, seriously. We like to watch YouTube. We like to engage with others. We like to have one-on-one time. We enjoy the fact that we can be who we are with each other. We have hard conversations. You know, there's times that I don't want to tell him, "Damn, I miss you this week and I need you more this week." It's not easy for me to tell him that, but it's imperative that I tell him that, because how is he going to know? How is he going to know that emotionally I need more support this week? He's not, unless I tell him. Same for him, you know? How will I know that he's feeling lonely or vulnerable or forgotten, or, whatever he might be feeling, if he doesn't tell me? That communication really is part of watering the grass, because that's how you fix what is broken. That is how you communicate what needs to be worked on. That is how you know what you need to do, because the other person and you are talking. And communication goes a long ways when it's listened, when you listen and when you talk, when you verbalize your feelings and somebody's intaking it, and then you're able to get responses and you get your needs met. It makes life a wonderful, you know? But let's be real. We're not only talking about relationships in an intimate way. Let's talk about friendships. You know, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So here you are in this friendship, and so maybe one's struggling and one's not, or maybe you guys have just been together so long and friendship so long that you just really don't know what to do for any more fun. And maybe you have a new coworker that's just like fun as ever, and you're going out all the time, and you're just spending days and upon days with them, and the other person's still fun, kind of just over here feeling lonely and lost. And why? What happened? Why don't I have a friend anymore? I have nobody. It's the same concept. You have to treat friendships just as you do relationships. Any relationship that you're going to be in needs to have the consistency of always getting needs met from each other. Okay. And there needs to be communication because without that, those needs are never going to be met. If you can't share how you're feeling, we're going to step out and we're going to go to the greener grass because it's easier than trying to read your mind, you know? Um, there's those friendships that you've had for 30 years that, just live or die, they're going to be the best that they can be. Now I've had friendships that have struggled because I wasn't giving them as much time as they wanted or needed. And I've had to evaluate, you know what? I really need to, work on making that relationship healthier. I really got to do that. I've got to give more of me. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as any other intimate relationship. You've got to work at it. And the reason that I just really want to talk about this today is that I have a good friend and they've been having some troubles. There's been no infidelity, no cheating, but they're just at ends. Like they're just where they're at. And they argue and they fight and they, just don't have the best of times. And they're not getting physical. They're just doing the bickering, the bickering. Well, I looked at this person and I said, you need to date. You need to live a life. You need to have fun. Because what happens is it's okay to have the other not there because you know what? When the other was there, it was negative. It was bad. But when they're gone, it's positive and they get along great. Well, of course they do, because once they've already split up, they're starting that connection of, oh shit, what do I do to keep my relationship together? Well, boys and girls, we need to work on that from day one. You have to work on that from day one. You have to date. You have to communicate. You have to have a good time. And dating doesn't mean that you have to go spend a lot of money. Go get in your car, go for a drive. Just make Sundays your day to go communicate. Go drive and talk. It doesn't have to be expensive to have a date. We have date night, chip night. Like seriously, where we will get chips and we will take and just eat chips for dinner and just have the best time. And that's okay. That is okay. I enjoy those nights just as much as I do when we get dressed up and we go out. So I told my friend, I'm like, you've got to date. You guys have got to make each other a priority. You have to make sure that you're listening and you have to make sure that he's listening. And you need to set expectations because expectations are where we have problems, Because when we first get into a relationship, we have the expectation that it's always going to be like this. And as soon as that newness wears off and we run into the normal, people get bored. People get bored, And again, it's not always cheating, but they step out because they want to have the fun. They're looking for the fun and they're craving the attention and they're craving the excitement and then craving the fun. And you could have been creating that at your home the whole time if we would have communicated and letting each other know what we felt. If we would have set proper expectations, In other words, we have to reevaluate our expectations occasionally and say, okay, it's been about 6 months and things are getting a little bit different, and I'm noticing that this. And then that gives you a chance to say, yeah, my expectation is that you would do this and I would do this and it would just continue to meet each other. Well, if the other person doesn't know that that's an expectation, you have high expectations and they have none. So let's break that habit. Let's break that pattern. Let's stop saying the grass is greener on the other side. Let's start feeling our own area of grass. Let's start feeling our own self. Let's start feeling our relationship. Let's start feeling, our friendships and just make them all that you want them to be. Let's start using communication and let's start, just working through what needs to be worked through to have relationships thrive and to have less people saying, well, the grass was greener on the other side. Because that's not healthy either. Because once you're out on the other side, guess what? The same shit's going to happen with time. The same dialogue will happen with anybody else if you give it time. I know it's a hard, real reality, but it's true. When you first got into that relationship, the grass was green. The cup runneth over. Oh, it was a great and magical. But the only reason that other grass looked better at the moment was because two people gave up in that last one. And eventually the time will happen where that happens in the new one. Because if you're not communicating or haven't been able to communicate with your past, with your exes, you're not going to be able to do it in the future. So water your own grass. Make that shit grow. Be happy. When you see a strength, like a piece is getting bigger, you got to keep feeding it more. You got to keep watering it more. You want that shit just to continue to grow. And it's not going to happen by anybody but you and who you're with. So think about it. What can you do to water your own grass? What can you do to feed your own relationship? How much effort can you give to feed your own relationship? And you know what? Hopefully you both give 110, but there are days that you might have to give 100 and he might give 10, or she might give 10 and you might give 100. It goes both ways. So just work on it. Stop stepping out thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. That's not true. It's just not. You can have everything that you're looking at outside of that inside if you'll take the time to focus and just work on that. So there you have it. That's my Monday thought. If you have any questions, concerns, you have anything to add to this, please just let me know. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm getting some feedback and I love it. So thank you so much. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back. Have a good day.